Together we will live forever.
The Fountain, directed by Darren Aronofsky, is a deeply moving and visually marvelous exploration of love and human mortality. In a narrative spanning an entire millennium, Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz each play three sets of complementary roles. In the 1500s, Tomas is a Spanish conquistador sent by Queen Isabella to find the Tree of Life in a Mayan temple. In the 21st century, Tommy Creo is an obsessive neuroscientist committed to finding a cure for his cancer-stricken wife Izzy. The 2500 thread of the narrative is more abstract. Tom, who either looks like Australian Federal Minister for the Environment Peter Garrett or Lord Voldemort, is a monk-like astronaut journeying to the Xibalba Nebula, where he hopes that his wife, who is apparently in the form of a tree, will be reborn. The Fountain alternates between these three plot threads, and various concepts and visual motifs link them together. These include the aforementioned nebula, a wedding ring, the tree in the Mayan creation myth, the quest for longer life, and the looming inevitability of death. The film follows the incarnations of Tom as they resist and fight against death until finally coming to terms with it, both as something they cannot change and as an ending that will give birth to a new beginning. The myth of a great tree nourished by the body of a Mayan elder factors into all three plot threads. The film also addresses how death can stifle a loving relationship. In the 21st century plot thread, Izzy is dying from a brain tumor, and Tommy works tirelessly to save her life. A recurring scene shows Tommy snapping at Izzy after she urges him to take a walk with her in the new snow. In his determination to find a cure, Tommy loses his temper, doesn't listen to his wife, and generally doesn't spend enough time with her. Agreeing to finish her book, or take an interest in that Mayan myth, would have made Izzy much happier in her final weeks. For all Tommy's heroic efforts, Izzy is the stronger person, as she accepts her death with maturity and grace. Tommy comes across as devoted, yet tragically short-sighted. In a sense, he can't see his wife for her death, and is missing out on cherishing the short time he has left with her. On a broader level for every reader, the 21st century thread of The Fountain shows us that stressing over our deaths prevents us from living our lives to the fullest. The Fountain has strong performances, dialogue that is profound without being pretentious, and most of the film is highly engaging. As the 16th century conquistador, Hugh Jackman has a noble, formidable screen presence, but in his 21st century neuroscientist role, Jackman is obsessive and agitated while still showing us how much he loves Izzy. His performance as the astronaut is fairly understated, but this is appropriate for the slow stillness of the space setting. Rachel Weisz is regal and composed as Queen Isabella, and elsewhere shows an almost pixie-like vivaciousness even as her other character, the present-day Izzy, succumbs to a terminal illness. This may be a weird comparison to make, but The Fountain feels like a cross between The Seventh Seal and 2001: A Space Odyssey. The 21st century plot thread has the same focus on death and relationships making our lives complete as The Seventh Seal, and the 26th century thread has the visual grandeur of 2001. Tommy's story, as he stubbornly tries to prevent death, is heartbreaking, and you will be mesmerized by the beauty, tranquility, and simple strangeness of the astronaut's voyage. Beyond that, every single scene in The Fountain is stunningly beautiful. The extravagant set pieces, costumes, and flawless CGI are all gorgeous to look at. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't said much about the 16th century plot thread, aside from the strength of the lead performances. Unfortunately, this plot thread is the weakest of the three, and leaves the narrative unbalanced by not fully engaging with the movie's themes. Queen Isabella orders Thomas to find the Tree of Life so that she may become immortal and save Spain from a traitorous cleric. In return, Queen Isabella promises to marry Thomas. As with the other two plot threads, new life ultimately emerges from death, and Thomas is working to save something. This time it's a nation instead of an individual lover. Immortality is generally accepted as being different from invincibility, so I don't quite see how the Queen could save her nation by becoming immortal. More importantly, we get no resolution for the conflict in Spain. In the 21st century and 26th century plot threads, Tom's lover dies, thus allowing Izzy and later Tom to accept death and grow as people. But in the 16th century plot thread, we never find out whether Spain is safe or Queen Isabella was overthrown. Therefore, there is no sense whatsoever of Thomas the Conquistador making peace with mortality. The 16th century plot thread feels incomplete, as not all of the film's themes are addressed. Otherwise, The Fountain is close to being a masterpiece. This film has intriguing themes of death and love, intense performances, a complex, threefold narrative woven together with visual motifs and symbols, an elegant score by Clint Mansell, and jaw-dropping visuals. A rough third of the narrative isn't thought out very well, but the other 2/3 make the film well worth watching. The Fountain earns 4 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.